Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to another delightful, enchanting, and rapturous episode of Psyched to be with you. Episode 7 now of season 3. It is getting to the height of summer, and let me tell you, if this episode doesn't warm your heart/soul, I don't know what will. I'm incredibly excited and in many ways starstruck to be with this episode's guest, someone I hold in a very high regard. But with all that, I'll pass over to you, my very special guest, to please introduce yourself. If you could tell us who you are and what you do.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mxiety. I'm a mental health and variety talk show host, among other things. I've written stuff. I've talked to people about stuff. I talk to companies about stuff. Mostly it's mental health and content creation related, but usually it's just mental health. And if we're completely honest, mental health is just being honest about how we're feeling and how we're doing, which is pretty much everything and anything connected to that. So that's me. Yeah, Marie Shanley, I think is what it says underneath. So yeah, you should know that. But Chris, I'm starstruck to be with you. Are you serious? Are you serious? Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, all right. So with this is the whole. Before we pressed record, we were doing this whole like ping pong and lifting each other up kind of business. So we're all a bit giddy from that.
Yeah.
Mxiety, Marie. Any preference on
M? Let's go for M. But any of those are all my name. So whatever rolls off your tongue.
Should have asked that before I started recording. That's on me. I'm an excellent host. So I had the pleasure of first meeting you through sort of Take This generally, and then we sort of ended up working together on a few things for PAX East 22. I made sure I got a selfie with you at one point because that's
right, we did.
And we've kind of like done a couple of other things back and forth since then. Sort of kept in touch, if you will. So, as I say, I'm a big fan. I actually would love to start. I'm going to completely throw you off course right at the start of the episode. Because
do it.
You're sort of known for one of your big pieces of advice is people come to me when they're about to start streaming and you give them this advice because they're like, I want to do mental health stuff. And you respond
I do. Okay. All right.
Your response is, that's great, but keep it under wraps. Don't think you can do everything. Like, you know, be chill. Kind of don't overstep boundaries, be chill. And you have heard this on record before, have said, no one ever listens to my advice. They go, thanks, and go off and try and do everything. And a couple years ago now, a bold albino boy streamer, I won't name names, wanted to start streaming and also slid into your DMs and said, hey, I'm thinking of doing this thing. Have you got any advice? So I would like to now go on record and say I actually took your advice to heart and really kept my stream in a organized place. So you can now know for a fact that I took what you said to heart and acted on it.
Oh, Chris. Wow, it's really neat being heard. I don't even, the validation that I just got warmed my soul like chicken soup. Thank you so much.
It was a funny thing of like mentioning what I was like looking to do, and it feels weird to talk about like before I started streaming in this context because this is content, but like several people like, okay, do you know Mxiety though? Like you need to chat with
No, really? Oh yeah, wow, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so that just says that people know my name. That, you know, that's great because it's a weird name and usually people don't know how to pronounce it. So I'm impressed that you're saying. You sure people don't come to you and go like, do you know Mxiety? Mxiety?
Can I get some fries with my big Mxiety? Like.
We used to say, I used to have a community member who used to pop into chat and go like, it's DJ Mxiety.
Nice. Can I get myself a Mxiety on this gel?
Oh God, we're so corny.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
all right.
premium. There is no kind of fluctuation of structure to this thing. I'm kind of
I'm
getting.
sorry, I'm ruining your structure.
Oh
I'm
no,
so
I
sorry.
I
Did
went
you know
off
I have
course.
ADHD?
It's
Okay, good.
so one of my friends came up with this, and I kind of love it. But as a playful, like
Okay.
I have ADH PhD, whereas like all I can think of my
Okay.
PhD, so I can't focus on anything else. But also
That's
everything at once because
amazing.
I don't want to do the PhD.
I like that. But that's real. And the hyper focus and everything, it connects to everything. I like that. I like that. I do not have a PhD though. I want to go on the record because I think that's like the second question people ask. They're like, "You talk about mental health. Do you have a degree in that?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't give anybody advice or therapize anybody, so you don't really need to have a degree to be like, today sucks." Promise you, you can tell people today sucks without a degree.
You just can't give professional and or medical advice without a degree, and you certainly shouldn't be doing that on the internet.
But you shouldn't be doing, yeah, even if you have a degree, you shouldn't be getting on the internet and being like, "Do you know, I think you have bipolar." Don't do it. And it's okay, I'm sorry, I'm still derailing this. It's fascinating to me how many people have diagnosed me. It with I like literally one of my rules is do not diagnose or pretend to diagnose somebody on stream or say like, "Oh, you may be," you can kind of say somebody that I know with that it has this diagnosis. Does that relate to you? But you can't be like, I think you have bipolar. So that's one of the rules in our community. The amount of people who have come to me and been like, you're autistic. I know you are. Or you have bipolar too. Have you looked into that? I'm pretty sure. And it's because people connect to the conversations we have. And then what do people do? They empathize, right? Like, oh, she's saying this. I have felt that. I think that that's part of my diagnosis. Therefore, maybe she has this diagnosis. And it's it's fascinating to me how often that's happened. I'll let you run your show now, though. I'm
No, it's all
sorry.
good. It's freeform. It's how we go. It's like an ice cube. You can get those ice cube trays in different shapes. Some are fun. Like
Yeah.
I think I have a Super Mario ice cube tray somewhere.
See, that's the kind of thing that, like, you say, like, "Oh, I think I have that." You definitely have it, Chris. Like, you definitely have. You don't need to pretend you don't.
You come on my show. You call me out like that. Okay,
People do stuff. They're
I
like, I
do
might.
I
Yes.
do own it.
Go
I don't
ahead.
know where it is.
Okay, fair. All right. That's because then you might not like. What if it went out with the trash one day or something? Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair. Fair.
So you do all those one as you describe it stuff with mental health. What have you been up to lately? What have you been working on?
Okay, so I will disclose the biggest thing that I've been working on is raising a tiny person that I made recently. So that takes a lot of time and attention. And then when I'm not doing that, I do also have a job. It is related to mental health. Like I have a 9 to 5. It's tangentially related to mental health. It's more related to just like making sure kiddos grow up with good, healthy information. It's child's entertainment. And then outside of that, the cool stuff that I've done recently, I've written a chapter for I know you if you're listening to this podcast, you know who Dr. Rachel Coward is. And I've
If you
written a
don't,
chapter
check out
yeah.
Dr. Richard Coates' episode.
Yeah. Yeah,
But if
get
you
on
don't,
that.
how? How do you not know?
Also, how did you end up here? Yeah, like not no, Chris is wonderful and you can find him in your own right, but Dr. Coward is like the bee's knees, right?
Sure.
But so I wrote a chapter for her Psyched Witcher psychology book. I'm very stoked about that on attachment theory and Yennefer Vangerberg. No spoilers.
Nice.
Um, so that's really exciting. I am also maybe possibly hopefully it's really interesting to know if by the time this comes out, if I'll be in the process of writing my second book.
Let's manifest
You
it.
just heard.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's happening. Have been. Time, time's funny. Tenses are funny. On a podcast at Tribeca Film Festival for discussing mental health. Um, I know I just recently wrote this out and I can't remember it all. Those are the big plans. I'm still streaming. I've been focusing on making Instagram little blurbies to hopefully make you smile. at least for half a second today. Just that's all I want. And playing a lot of Disney Dreamlight Valley to escape the reality that we are living in.
Nice.
I know I'm doing other cool stuff, but I can't think of it off the top of my head, even though I should have. I know it was in that prep packet. I know, Chris. I know it was.
When you're doing so much cool stuff, it's impossible to keep track of it all, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. Okay.
Definitely don't forget all of M's links will be attached to wherever you found this episode. So you'll be able to follow all those various Instagram blobbies.
Right. Sure. Bluebies. Yeah. Yeah. Let's
One
call
of
it that.
those, all of them. Why not?
Mhm.
Jeremy, bury me. What is time? What are words? It's all good.
Right. Oh my gosh. Oh, Jeremy, bear me. True. True.
So you
I love that
mentioned
reference.
the zeitgeist of The Witcher. I
Yeah.
also have a chapter featured in that, so
Yeah, you
I can
do.
technically say once again try and like shoehorn that I've worked with Mxiety onto my
I
CV.
don't say that's shoehorning. That's accurate. I generally like you as a person, and any project that you're assigned onto is always like ooh, it's got a little check of approval because Chris is doing it. Gotta be good. I mean, other than Dr. Cowart, we stand here.
Yeah,
But
big stan.
yeah. But yeah, anything you sign on for. Usually whenever I see like, oh, Chris is doing this too. Like, for example, the Take This review board that we're both on. There you go. That's definitely a thing I'm doing very regularly.
Yeah, but it's funny you say that because I do that in reverse. So like, wait, if M's on it, yeah, that's good. I can maybe get involved.
That's adorable. Aw,
Um,
that's high praise.
how do you think I feel? So
Think I feel.
you mentioned writing your second book, which means you
Yeah.
wrote a first book. I had the pleasure of reading it recently. So I want to say it's an incredible read. I file it under that sort of short list that I have of I think it's books everyone should read. I think it had genuine value.
No,
I kind of wish I could have given that book to like teenage me, um,
oh,
which ironically is one of the pieces of content in the book.
it is.
But I would love to address a couple of points from the book if that's all right.
Oh my God.
The
I am mind blown. Like, I understand people bought copies of the book because I don't have them anymore in my house. But anytime people tell me that they actually read it, I was like, oh, I thought you just bought it to be nice. Like, oh, my friend wrote a book. Here's, $10 so you could say that you sold a copy. The fact that you actually read it, thank you so much. Thank you. That's so sweet. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. So towards the start of it, and obviously they are an edited version of essays that you released over time prior, a collected volume.
Everywhere. Hmm.
And during one of those earlier moments, you actually say three things you'd like to achieve, apart from having a positive impact on one person at any time, which we can definitely say you've done. Tick. You also say you would like to be a published author, get married, and have a child. I
Yeah,
from what I'm aware of what you've said and things I've seen on the internet, all three of those things are true.
they are.
How's that feel?
Wow. Um, as mind blowing as the fact that people are reading the book. I um I actually recently so I had a girlfriend who is going through a hard time with her family, and she recently realized that she has a few narcissists that she's dealt with growing up, and she messaged me specifically to say that she's like, oh my God, I should have been reading this sooner, because as I'm going through this journey, reading your stories about your narcissistic parents, uh all this to say, hold on, I'm going to fast forward. She was very sweet and very kind and complimentary of the book, which made me go back and be like, what the hell did I write? So I went back and just, flipped through my blog, and I was looking at it, and it's actually kind of mind-blowing. And I had to do this when I put together the book, but it's mind-blowing to measure the passage of time and the progress that you've made as a person through things you've done on the internet, right? And that's very scary because I'm sure a lot of it I would look back at and cringe. Some of it I probably still have to apologize for, just because time has passed. I would hope that we continue progressing and learning, and we're stupider in the past and smarter in the future, although that's not always linear, right? And that's okay. But all of that to say, uh rereading a piece that was like stuff I hope to accomplish before I'm 30. And I remember writing that and I remember being like, "Oh, look at this. This is all stupid. This is all bare minimum. This is all failing. This is all like basically like, yeah, who hasn't done this?" And I remember that thought process and I'm reading this in the blog and I'm going, "Son of a gun, you're doing fine. You're doing okay. You're so mean. You're doing okay." And I think that like I probably current me, I hope that me 5 years from now does not have to tell past me that like that's very mean of you to say that to yourself. I hope that I've made a little bit more progress in self-kindness since then. But yeah, how does it feel? I think the biggest takeaway is it's cool to see your growth. It's cool to see the difference. And one of the things is I wish I was nicer to myself. As I flipped through everything, I remember how much as I was putting together this book, the amount of self-loathing went into it of like, why am I even doing this? It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of everybody's time. People are going to waste money buying this book. I was so mean. And in a shocking twist, I was that mean to myself, and I also did not like myself, and I was also so depressed. And it was like, if I compare like 2016 depression anxiety that started everything, the blog, and it was sorry, 2017, uh, uh, that's probably like level, like still a few levels below how depressed anxiety was who wrote the book in 2019,
Hmm.
but really mean. She's really mean to herself. And Uh, no crap. Yeah, no wonder that you were so depressed, dude. And I don't think there's a scenario in which I could have just been like, just be nicer to yourself, and then this all would could have been avoided. But all this to say the journey, seeing that journey now from almost 33-year-old Marie with a kid, with the husband, with the writing, with the book released. That's really cool. And so my recommendation is go out there and write something that you can and put a reminder on your calendar to read it in 10 years and just see how you feel about that.
I think it's worth pointing out, and this is me just wholeheartedly recommending the book. It does have a nice narrative structure to it. I feel like you start in one place, you end in another. It doesn't necessarily end with any spectacular kind of and now everything is fine kind of.
Oh, I did not want that because
But
that
I
is
just
so
think
such baloney.
it
Yeah.
just makes it so real, and really relatable in that sense. And I think that adds to the raw emotion of the book. I would, and this is one of those things I definitely should have cleared before we started the episode, but I'd like to read one of my favorite passages from it, if that's all right.
Oh my god, I'm gonna turn into a tomato. You definitely can. The other thing is I don't dissociate, but I do sometimes when people tell me like a quote or something. I'm like, I wrote that. Yes, I wrote that. Definitely. I definitely wrote that.
I
Um,
this
Go ahead.
particular sort of I'm reading it from my e-reader, no brands, I'm not sponsored. But like I highlighted this because I was like, oof, this hits. So is that all right? You sure we're okay to? All right.
Go ahead. I'm gonna melt into a puddle, but go ahead.
I dedicate this final paragraph to that ugly creature which remains in my head. You may darken my achievements with your presence, but you are never winning. There is too much unknown in my future to give in to your ideas. I am sure that there are worse things ahead because I have seen them before, but I am equally sure that the good things can outshine those awful things. If you're going to keep rummaging, I have to keep fighting. I wish I could get rid of you once and for all, but as long as you are here to stay, to keep me down, I resolve to keep you down. That
Okay, so
that
she wasn't all just mean to herself. Sounds like she had a resolution, and also it sounds like I've been doing pretty good keeping that monster down. If that gives anybody a little bit of hope that you can keep that monster at bay, there you go. It was good. Sorry, Chris. Please.
No, I mean like that was the passage. I think that's incredible. I think it really it hits. It reminds me of like there's a Native American parable of like two wolves. Have you heard of this?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
For listeners' benefit, I'll just like really quickly.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. It's a meme now. That's why I'm smiling. If anybody's just listening to this as a podcast, it's not because I think it's very important and it's serious and it's impactful. I'm only smiling because it's I'm thinking of God of War now because of
yeah.
it. But please go ahead, Chris.
A young boy speaks to his grandfather, and he sort of says, how do we sort of manage ourselves, essentially? And the grandfather says, son, it's that in every side of us there are two wolves. One is love, joy, happiness, passion. The other is hate, violence, anger, jealousy, and they are constantly at war within ourselves. And the boy looks at him and says, "Well, your grandfather, how do we know which one wins?" And he says, "The one you feed the most." And that's kind of like what you perpetuate even within your own self. That fighting that monster, you can choose to sort of level up yourself or level up the monster, and it makes sense to at times when you can choose to level up yourself to help beat that monster. I think that's one of the things, the nerdy boy, gamey boy that I am, why that particular quote really resonated with me. Vis-a-vis Dark Link kind of business.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. You brought in Dark Link. Good. You're getting so many nerd points. I hope anybody's counting in the audience. And to the point also of one of the bigger revelations I had when it comes to my own mental health is that and that was reflected in that writing is that you do keep fighting. That's how you win because um I'm sure folks listening, if you've ever been on the receiving end of you'll probably have depression for the rest of your life, like that quote from a therapist, a psychiatrist, after many years of being on and off medication and then being like, nope, I'm staying on this because it's keeping me alive, after many years of uh fighting, going to therapy consistently, after many years of just being in complete denial that this was a problem I would have to deal with for the rest of my life, perpetuated definitely by stigma and other people being like, no, we're not even gonna go there. There's way too much stigma for me to even pluck a few things out.
You
There's
know
just
it's
so
there because
much.
it's there.
Yeah, it's there, fam. Just it exists.
Have
You've
you
probably
been on
talked to
the
the
internet?
yeah, on the internet, you probably talked to the aunt that's like, "You're just not doing yoga." I have a friend, Janice, she'd started doing yoga. She's never been sad since then. She does so much yoga.
Have you
So,
been to the puppy room that we installed on campus for that one day last year? Did that not solve everything?
did that not you need to go look at a sunset. How many sunsets do I need? How many tell me, is it 100? Is it 90? Because I haven't clocked all of them yet. That might be the issue. Please do tell me. Uh But yeah, so there was a moment that one of my doctors was like, "Oh no, this thing's staying." Like it's very clear that whatever you're dealing with mentally is here to hang out for a long time. Um and that's after coming to terms okay, yeah, I've probably been dealing this since I was 13, diagnosed around 19, 27. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm probably not going nowhere. Okay. But the realization that it's not I kept looking for the key. I'm going to unlock this door and on the other side there's going to be no depression, no anxiety, definitely no ADHD, definitely no trauma. No, I'm just going to unlock it and then all of that's going to be behind me and I'm going to walk around
Is
free from
is
everything.
isn't that the story of Kingdom Hearts?
Did what? Did it? Thank you. All
Hey.
right, we're all back here. I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts nerd for anybody who doesn't know who's watching. And I've written for Take This. I wrote an essay on how Kingdom Hearts connects to mental health, which Chris I know very slyly has brought. You dog.
Hey,
Um,
I do my research for my
um,
guests.
But yeah, so I kept expecting that like I'm gonna open this door. I'm gonna do something in therapy that's gonna unlock it. I'm gonna have the revelation and I'm gonna be like free. That's it. Just everything's gonna leave my body. And the realization that that's not what happens. It does for some people, and that's cool. That's awesome. But it doesn't for everybody. And that doesn't mean it's not a guess I'll die now scenario, even though it feels like it is. And at times I was literally suicidal. So I probably should have content warning that.
I'll put it in the
Apologies.
edit. No, it's fine.
All right. But yeah, it's not, that's not it. You don't have to unalive. You you can just come to terms with the fact that it's a battle you're gonna have to fight. And it's not a battle everybody else fights, and that sucks, but that's the one you gotta fight.
To be really wax lyrical, and you sort of said this yourself at the start of that, where like I one of the things I admire most about people is the innate ability to just carry on. You know, people just possess this resolve that I feel like we almost don't see in other creatures that share our planet. You know, and I always like to succinctly, because I can be concise. It's very rare, but I can.
I
But like
can't.
it
I'm
reminds me of that
impressed.
Bob Dylan quote that's just like, all I knew how to do was to keep on keeping on, and like that's it. Just if you
Yeah,
keep on keeping on.
no, that's it. Yeah.
So I realized, everyone go read the book. There'll be a link to the book. Check you. It's a great
There's
read. It's not massive.
there's
It's
a
it's
lot of
very easy reading.
resellers, by the way. So I hope you post, maybe just post to my website, and that I link out to the accurate Amazon description, because there's way more reason. I did not make, I'm gonna be completely honest, and not for pity points. Honestly, I did not make a lot of money on this book. Maybe made maybe $200 after everything was said and done. So um I don't know what the resellers are getting out of it, but there's a ton of resellers on Amazon, and they sell it for more money than it needs to be sold for. So don't buy it.
Like
Yeah.
obviously that's despicable in every sense, but like of all the books, the one that's like
No,
about
I mean, all those
like
other books also have this problem. It's just it's a silly thing. I don't know what determines when a scalper is like,
yeah.
I do it.
So definitely people. I recommend people read the book. Check the link to
Thank you.
M's website, 100%. But I think one of the things I like to get onto in this show is, why do you do what you do? And we kind of have that biographical, like why it started. So I'm going to reframe this slightly and say, what is it that keeps you going and doing this now?
Ooh.
Like you have a 9 to 5. You mentioned you became a parent. Like you, I don't think anyone would be mad if you were like, yeah, I'm not streaming for a bit. I'm taking an extended break, or be bothered with streaming. I don't think anyone would begrudge you that.
Well, in all fairness, I have, and I probably likely will, if not by the time this episode comes out, have taken plenty of breaks from streaming specifically. Uh, when it comes to anxiety itself, I don't think that I could ever shut it down. Like it was very recently, I was exhausted and frustrated, and I was like, this is it. I'm gonna close down the website and I'm gonna stop writing. And it felt like I took a limb off my body, or was like attempting to take a limb off it. Like it's just not, I don't think I could do that. It's such a I've speaking of things you learn to battle, it's something that I have learned to live alongside. There was a very long time where anxiety felt too big for me. Like the concept felt too big. The pressure felt too big. The not living up to some random person's expectations was too much. And but now that I'm on the other end of that, of like, this is a part of me, it is not all of me, and it doesn't have to be all of me. And I don't have to, get like ninja Pokemon level of famousness, or accept that as a need to continue creating. I think for a very long time I thought I had to. Like it's very all or nothing, right? Like either you are the top of the top, or what are you even doing? And once I removed that pressure from myself, and I started working with myself on a level that I am comfortable with, of sometimes I'm gonna write, and then there's gonna be months where I don't write. And sometimes I'm gonna stream, and there's gonna be weeks where I don't stream. And I need that. I need those drips and drops of of creating this thing and talking about mental health, and talking about my feelings in a way that other people say helps them. I need that as part of who I am. So that's self-serving. I don't think that's the answer people want. People want an answer that's like, I do it for the folks, for the people, of course. And I do. I do. I don't think any I would hope nobody in my community would ever doubt that for a second. I love the space that we have created. I love the community that we have. I love that we fundraise for mental health causes. I love that I am connected to amazing nonprofits that are making huge difference in how mental health is perceived, viewed, and used going forward in the gaming space and outside of it. I love all of that. And um, if nothing else, becoming a parent makes it's really interesting because becoming a parent has both put that in the perspective of, um, okay, I have to do even less of this because parenting is a lot, especially the first year of your kid's life. And even though the bar set really low by my parents, I kind of want to hop over that at least, right? So on one hand there's that, on the other hand, it feels even more important to leave the world just a smidgy better than you found it. And also the realization that I don't have to leave, actually, when I say world, I don't mean the entire globe better.
Mhm.
It could just be, today, leaving the world better than I found it could be the fact that, maybe I was kind to a neighbor who needed it,
You join a
literally
friend's
across the road.
podcast, you know.
You you know? Yeah, it's realizing that, like, i- all of us, there's so many humans on this planet, and if all of us put in just that smidgy, that 10 seconds of extra effort a day to make the world a little bit better than it was yesterday, and some days we're gonna fail at it, honestly, but if we keep putting in that effort, we might be onto something. We might make something really neat. Um, and so having a kid really sets that in perspective because for a very long time I was trying to come to as we were starting to expand our family, I was trying to come to terms with, like, this world sucks. There's so much going on that is absolutely terrible. So much hatred, so much vitriol towards people for who they are, which impacts our mental health, homelessness, we're burning the planet alive, like all of that really, really, really um makes you I mean, I'm the kind of person, oh, I hate when people start sentences like that, but here we go. I'm the kind of person that I would hope uh tries to wants to fix a problem. And so I think at first it gets really scary and you're like, I want to fix all the problems. And now I've come to a place of, I want to fix this much of the problem today, and then hopefully this much of it tomorrow, and then hopefully this much. So to answer your question in the least roundabout way, which I definitely have not, I think that was like a 5-minute answer. The short answer to that question is I want to know that I tried to do something to make the world a little bit better today than it was yesterday. That I tried. I'm not even saying that I did, but I want to know that I tried.
That like chills, chills, and that type of answer. I think like that
You should put
is.
on a jacket. That's not that profound.
It's not that profound, but definitely jacket worthy. Yeah, I see that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. No, that's great, and I think it's so true. Especially when I love like the acknowledgement of like you might fail at that. You don't always have the extra spoons to do it, But like just saying like incrementally, some is better than none. 1% today and every day is better than 0%, and trying to make self do 50% in a day is too much. um, One of the things as well, I suppose I'd like to ask you. Mentioned this earlier on. You potentially might be working on the second book. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about what that might look like, what it's
Absolutely
about?
cannot. I can't. I can't. I actually cannot tell you because if where we are right now, it's not a done deal, and
Okay.
there are two future books that I would really like to write. And when I say future, I mean it could be 20 years from now. So everybody hold on to your pants and keep holding on to them. Um but there is a future in which one of those books focuses heavily on making sure that we highlight the impact on your mental health content creation has.
Hmm.
Because it's rough, and every time I see another creator being, there's definitely plenty to hold accountable creators for. There's plenty of crappy people who get an audience and use it not for nice things, and we need to hold them accountable. By we, I don't know who we is, like a collective human species or something. Um, but uh creators put in so much work, and I think I'm sure this number is off, but if I'm not mistaken, I think it's literally only 8% of content creators total are successful. And by, like, if success is measured by I am able to provide for myself by
Hmm.
this, might be even
Financially
less. It might be
viable.
like 2%. Right, right. That it's financially I am making a living doing this, and all I am doing is posting pictures on Instagram or streaming on Twitch or creating content,
Hmm.
writing, I'm blogging, right? Um, it's really hard to be successful doing it. And the bar socially is so high. Like I was reading this morning, many mornings ago, because this is in the future, many mornings ago, I was reading about this woman who got absolutely torn to shreds because she posted on TikTok celebrating that she was able to buy herself a house and she didn't need to buy a mortgage, and it's because she's a content creator, and people ripped her apart. And these are the same people watching her, so part of me is like, you could have just not watched, I guess, and then she wouldn't have money, right? You supported her getting to this point. Um, but the idea was that it was insensitive for her to be excited that she's bought herself a house when there is a lot of issues of homelessness and everything. And I I don't that issue is incredibly important. That is a mental health issue. Homelessness is a mental health issue. Inability to afford a mortgage because the interest rates are out of this world is a mental health issue. However, both can exist at the same time. We could be concerned about issues in this world, and we could also be celebrating with people who are able to achieve more than they ever thought that they could. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Um,
I
and
mean, you know me. I'm from Liverpool. I'm very sort of your anti-establishment, anti-capitalist. I'm clear
sure,
with
sure,
these
sure.
opinions, don't care. But I think there's a really weird kind of nexus of attacking the few people that make a success doing something that these fans like and support actively, even if they're
Right,
doing that for negative purposes, instead of going for like the true 2% that possess 90% of
right.
the world's wealth, that like could solve some of these problems like that. Like doing well for yourself,
But
like
can't.
buying a
I can't go
house,
to Jeff
like
Bezos and tell them that he needs to solve, give me $400,000 so that I can pay off my student loans. I can't do that. But I can go on TikTok and get really mad at this random woman that I supported up until now. I mean, I guess I watched her content. Like, so she somehow made this money, right? So somebody was supporting her and the content she was making. Hopefully, it wasn't content of her, like, hurting baby seals or something. So
oh
I'm
god.
presuming it wasn't. So yeah, so the fact that we could support people and then break them down when they are more successful than we are. Oof, that sucks.
What a time to be alive, and I say that with a pinch of sarcasm and a heavy dash of cynicism.
It's
Um,
always what a time to be alive. Sorry, Chris, we're
yeah.
millennials. It's always what a time to be alive. We've had 4,000 historical events in our lifetime. What a time to be alive. Yes,
Uh,
all the time.
there's I don't know if you can tell this because if you're watching the video, you can see over my shoulder several Fall Out Boy pieces of memorabilia, and the song
Yeah.
from the latest album by the same name, "What a Time to Be Alive." Everything is
Mhm.
lit except my serotonin is a lyric from that
Yes.
song, and I'm
Oh my god.
like, yes.
Our joint love for Fall Out Boy is honestly, I think that's what put me over the edge into the Chris fan club. That was it. I was like, oh, and he's a Fall Out Boy fan. We're never ever ever not being friends.
What? Oh,
Can I share my
dead
favorite?
air. Oh
Hold
god,
on.
I've still been
Wait, can I share my favorite Fall Out Boy lyric?
Oh, of course.
Okay, you are not you are what you love, not who loves you.
From the incredible duet with Sir Elton John on Save Rock and Roll, the title track from that album. Incredible. That song, I have no shame in admitting, I cried when I saw it live in beautiful, happy,
You
emotional
saw it
tears.
live? That sounds amazing.
Yeah, this is a few years back now. It was on the Save Rock and Roll tour, but that was, oof, spiritual moment.
I believe it. I believe it. That lyric, I was driving. I don't think I pulled over, but I do think I definitely had a moment of like, it blew my mind. And it's so simple, right? It's not, I don't think it's like incredibly profound, but it blew my mind because it was at the right place at the right time. You are what you love, not who loves you.
Oof. Okay, so
Okay,
we
both
got.
of us have dead
Oof.
air. I just want to point out we're both doing dead air because I know you're continuing the lyrics in your head.
Yeah.
I know because I am. That's what's going. I'm like, I'm bopping to the rest of that song,
Yeah.
and then I just have to
You
let
gotta
it
just work it
peter
out.
out.
Work it out. So we've talked about this. You're an incredibly busy person, which we love. You're doing incredible stuff. In mine and many others' opinion. I know you sometimes don't necessarily agree with that assessment yourself.
Really?
Shaking your head
Really?
vehemently over there. But what do you do for fun, or when you're not sort of working on it? Include, shall we say this? What are you doing for leisure time when not doing something you are required to do?
A great question. Um, I I get. Oh man, that's such. Okay, I'm not gonna get pedantic and be like, well, what am I technically required to do? I'm not gonna get pedantic. I am gonna say, I think in my leisure time, one of the things that I have been focusing on the most is making sure I'm connected with people I care about. So in my free time, I'm texting friends, I'm complaining to friends, I am connecting with friends, like people that that I already know, that like are in the inside. If you do the what is it called? The monkey number, right? The you can only have so many connections,
Mm.
and so I forgot what it's called. Somebody please, somebody help me. I'm sure if this is on YouTube, some commenter will let us know. But yeah, so you have that like your inner circles like max 10 people, right? And then you go a little bit out, it's like max 20 people, and then it's like up to 250 people is that like max number of people you could be connected to. So yeah, making sure that like 15ish people that are right in there that I feel connected to them, because if I don't do that, my head explodes and I get a very become very sad. I'm a very social being, and it's very important to me that I'm connected to people I care about and that those people know that I care about them. And I do that through the rest of the circles, but it's really hard to even keep up with those like inner 15. so uh so it's that. I love reading and I never have enough time to do it. I love reading. And I like watching TV, but I have so many caveats because whenever you say I like watching TV, people have like at least 10 things that you need to watch. And maybe two of them I'm like, oh, okay, I'd actually be interested in that. So here's the caveat to that. I can't watch anything like sad or dramatic. Just don't have the spoons for it.
Mhm.
All of my work is revolves
Is sad and
both
dramatic.
anxiety. Yeah, every like both anxiety and my 9 to 5 revolves around helping people who are not doing so hot right now.
Mhm.
So when I'm not doing that, I want to be laughing at stuff. And it could be life stuff. It could be, like Ted Lasso isn't all always funny. But I am very, very, very persnickety. It feels like the bar is so high for me to enjoy a show because I only have like literally the 30 minutes to watch that one episode, so it better
Mhm.
be good. Because if I just spent 30 minutes watching something that sucked, I'm gonna be pissed. Because that was the only 30 minutes I had in like the week.
So
You know what I mean?
I resonate with this on so many levels. Like one of the reasons,
Right?
like one of the jokes that I say, like, the reason I stream is because it allows me a few hours on a Saturday night to play a game. That might be the only
Yeah,
time in a week I've had a chance to play a game.
for
And
real.
even then, I've been playing stuff that's like mental health adjacent that I need to for projects or research
I
because
get it. I get
dedicated
it.
time. I also agree with the
But then yeah,
comedy
of
as
course.
well. Like I
There you
think
go.
just laughing
Okay.
at stuff is so fun. So my next question is: have you read or like watched or played anything recently that you want to recommend?
Yeah, so yeah, then I was like, of course I'm also gaming. But I'm really into Disney Dreamlight Valley. Oh my gosh. It like I don't know if it's healthy how much I love this game. It's created a space for me that like I'm able to make content from it and then also in that same game have the ability to just enjoy myself. That doesn't feel like cuz often if you play a game for content, then when you go back and try to play that game for leisure, it just doesn't hit the same.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I'm able to like have two separate kind of feels to it, which is
Yeah.
silly. Um, so there's that. I am currently reading. I finished Michelle Obama's book. I went then into like a whole period of where I just read smut. I never in my life have read smut. I don't know. I just wanted to read like just some. I'm not saying all smut is, but the smut I was reading was like real lowbrow, like nonsense. Like women being like, and he took off his shirt, and then all I could do was think about his abs. You know, like not incredible writing or anything. Just like,
So
yeah, let's go there. You know. So I did that. Go ahead.
I will say that term lowbrow is one I try to avoid. It's one of those that is kind of
Sure.
rooted in ableism. I'm not a huge fan of.
Is it?
I learned this through Twitter through Jen Kretschmer.
And teach me.
Um,
Teach me.
so like it's to do with biological positivism and like where one's skull formation and therefore brows are
Shut up! I
relating
never
to
knew
intellect.
that.
I only learned this recently through Twitter. So I'm not. Don't feel like I'm calling you out. But
No, you're not.
the
You're calling
reason
me
I say
in.
this is because the way I like to talk about it is sometimes you just want some delicious trash, and that's fine. Like you
That's what it was.
just want delicious
Yeah.
trash.
Okay. No, I will definitely. That is a better term. I'm all. Thank you for educating me. I had not a single clue. Thank you for giving me the background on that because I will avoid the crap out of saying that now. Yes, it is tasty. It is brain trash. You need brain, like you need junk food for your brain the same way you need like, very, very healthy
Exactly.
apples and spinaches and everything. You
Yeah.
need that. You need that. Yeah, you need that Twinkie once in a while, you know? You know that there's nothing good coming from it, but it's so good. So
And
delicious.
you found this delicious trash that is also smutty. Love it. Like,
So I did that. It was really funny because it was in between. I had read Michelle Obama's book, then I went into smut, and now I'm reading. It's called Fat Talk, and it's this. I can't remember the name of the journalist who wrote it, so my apologies. But it's about how we talk about food with our children, and this is a
oh,
very touchy topic for me because I had two different eating disorders growing up. Uh, Food is weird. For those of us who grew up in the 90s, there was a lot of propaganda of like fat is bad and sugar is bad. Instead, here's some aspartame. That's fine. Don't think about it, you know? So the messaging we got was just like eating bad, not eating good, but also you do have to sustain yourself somehow. So like that doesn't make sense.
so I
Yeah.
think you make a really good reference with like particularly the 90s because I feel like this was the era where we kind of went from, and I remember this as an advert. It sticks like out in my brain, and the advert was like, I forget what it was for, but it was a lady in the mirror and she's sort of speaking to her boyfriend or something, and she's like, "Does my bum look big in this?" She asks her
Sure,
boyfriend.
sure, sure.
The punchline being that like you never say that to a lady. That would be incredibly insensitive.
Right.
Um,
Oh my goodness.
because this was the era of size zero and all these kind of
Hmm.
really weird things that happened. Whereas like now that is like the sociological kind of aim for like a more curvaceous bottom, to try and
Yeah.
say it in academic. Random recommendation: Greg Jenner, a historian, wrote a really good
Okay.
book called Dead Famous, and it's actually the history of celebrity from the Bronze Age to the silver screen. and it talks
Oh my
about this
gosh.
thing kind of
Love that.
came into fruition. There's a really creepy story about an artist and a 12-year-old girl. Bit strange, bit weird, but it kind of touches on that kind of thematic.
All right.
How
You
we
got to send me that title again
how we
later.
kind of
I want
began
to
to
read it.
form this picture of attractiveness and size, particularly, and weight
Hmm.
and those sorts of things. And yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
I
Like,
mean, the silliness of all that.
yeah, but there was just something about how flip floppy it was. Like going through like in well through to the 2010s. So
Oh yeah.
strange.
Yeah, Tina Fey put it really well. I'm sure if you Google it, there's a Pinterest quote somewhere out there, but it was like you have to have, Kim Kardashian's bottom and so's lips and so's hips and so's shoulders and like the standard for like what your body should look like was absolutely absurd and like physically not human. Like no, you can't look, you can't have giant lips but also big bottom, but like you can have a few of those things, but it's not a combination. It's not a Lego person that you could put together,
Mhm.
and so anyway, but then there's the other side of that where people have connected like, oh, body positivity is anti-health, and that's also just not true, right? And so anyway, this book dives really well into like when the heck did we connect our body image to a number and how food obviously plays a role in all of that, and that all of those things can be disconnected. You can work out, you can look whatever the heck you look like. You don't have to work out and you can look totally different, and and all of it is related to what you consume, but also not really. And also some people don't have access to the things that you have deemed are the only way to live healthily and all of that. And so I love it. I'm only halfway through, and I'm sure it's going to take me another half year to get through the other half, but it's fantastic. It's one of those books where so I bought a physical copy because I will be handing this very not so passive, not passive aggressive, very passive aggressively to some women in my life who have already made comments about how I'm feeding my child. And I started being like, I'm just gonna highlight, and then before you know it, you look at the page and you're like, oh, so I just highlight the whole page. I guess it's speaking to me.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's where I am. I'm reading that. And then we were watching The Great on Hulu, and it got a little too dark for me. That's like it's like dark humor.
Mhm.
It got a little too dark for me. It's a little too bloody. I appreciate it. I respect it, but right now I'm feeling a little. So I am in my period of mourning Ted Lasso. I know by the time this comes out, Ted Lasso will have ended, but I know I'm still gonna be mourning it because that's my comfort show. The way people talk about like Friends and The Office, and I never quite got that. Like
Mhm.
I never quite got what people talk when they were such fans of shows they could like rewatch episodes over and over and over and over again. Ted Lasso is doing that for me. I've also highly enjoyed Shrinking, which is the Harrison Ford, Jason Segel. This is a point where I met Jason Segel, got to ask him a question about the Muppets. He is wonderful.
Oh.
It was at a convention, so like it's not like I was like sitting having coffee with him, but he's as wonderful as you think he is. Okay, I think I'm done talking.
Okay, no, nice. I mean, that was some cool stuff. Like, I mean, just yeah, there's so many threads I could keep pulling on, but I want to be respectful of your
Sorry.
time. That's it's not like we can't chat at any other point after the episode. Just listeners won't get
No,
any
that's
benefit.
it. It's
That's
it's over. You have to you once
oh,
you've paid me the $10,000 for being
Liz,
on your
you're
stream.
not
Am
supposed
I
to
not?
disclose a fee. I'm gonna have to edit that out now. Oh, the effort.
Oh no. Am I wait, did I guys, it's $100,000. I'm sorry, I didn't notice the zero there.
Uh,
Anyway, it's nothing. It's kidding. It's a joke.
pocket change in the mental health awareness space.
Everybody knows mental health advocates make all the money
Uh,
with the nonprofits that they're connected to.
and the 2+ jobs.
Right, they're 2+ jobs, and then all the sponsors that are like, "Oh, are you gonna talk about suicidality? We're gonna need to not." I'm just kidding. That's only happened to me one time. All the other partners and sponsors that I've worked with are wonderful, but I did have one that was like, "Oh, are you actually gonna talk about
Wait,
suicidality?"
you're gonna actually talk about mental health? Nah.
Oh no, not like that. there's another mental health advocate on YouTube who put it really well. He's like, I have to stop doing YouTube for mental health advocacy because I can't afford my bills because a lot of advertising on YouTube pulled from mental health uh content. And he's like, which I don't understand because guess what? People who are depressed also need to wipe their bums. So like, why couldn't Charmin sponsor?
It's
And it
true.
just hit home, you know? Like, we're just people. I don't know. Why can't you sponsor me? I still need to wash my hair sometimes. Come on.
Yeah, and if you want a sheen full volume like I do, you know.
Chris, your hair is absolutely phenomenal. Can we talk about that for a second?
I,
How do you get it so like shiny and smooth and
so
it's
I
wonderful?
I legitimately get asked this question a lot, and like
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
no
all
no
right.
like truly I use a shampoo and conditioner bar from a company. I'll name them. I'll like
Oh,
Friendly
bar.
Soaps.
Cool, cool, cool.
Um,
Okay.
I wash my hair every day, but like
Okay.
it's light as a cloud. It's white as a cloud, so it kind of works as an analogy. But like yeah, it's definitely one of my defining features. I like to think of it as slight between like I've said before on the podcast that like if you imagine what you think a psychologist to look like, I do very much align with that stereotype. Like
Hold on, a bar. I like that because I've been trying to get away from plastic bottles. So that sounds great. I want these links, and some they should sponsor you. Look at that. There we go. Full circle.
and for those among us who like to travel via aircraft, they're bars. They're solids. They don't constitute towards your liquid allowance.
You know, it depends. The TSA in the US, one time I brought a candle on because I bought it where I was, and I brought a candle on, and I kid you not, it took 3 TSA agents, and they were scratching their heads, and they're like, well, technically, if you light the candle, it's liquid.
Well,
Should we
you're not
not
gonna
let
light the
you?
candle, just whip out the candle on the plate.
That's
Sorry,
what
I
I
just
said.
need
I
my
was like, am I gonna?
aromatherapy.
Right. I was like, am I gonna pull it out on the airplane and be like, oh, yes. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, I did get the candle on board. Everything was fine. But all this to say that, you never know what TSA, like, I don't want them, I don't want to buy a $20 bar of shampoo and then TSA to be like, just don't
You
know.
assume I
Just
can
don't look
afford
at suds it
$20
up.
bars of shampoo? Hey, all that advocacy money, am I right?
Right. That's $100,000 that you should be able to afford your, $20 shampoo.
Yeah. Uh, so these are two of my favorite questions I ask on the show, and
Yeah.
the first one is I can maybe guess what your answer might be, but I'm gonna ask anyway. You have access to unlimited resources, time, expertise,
Okay.
people, whatever you want.
Sure.
What is your ultimate blue sky idea? What's one thing you would love to do?
Oh my, wait, what if I tell you and then somebody steals it and then
Because they just wouldn't have the way of pulling it off the way you do.
okay, all right, okay.
Also, you can
No,
if
but
there's
in
any
all
like
serious, I
technical
have said this
details.
before.
Like...
I've said this before, because there was a time where I did I had there's this venture capitalist. I love him. He part of What If Ventures, and he specifically focuses on mental health businesses. And we did a Twitch pit anyway. It has nothing to do with anything. Where was I going with this? Uh, money. Oh, blue sky idea. No, all this to say, it's out there already because I was on his podcast and I did talk about it. Um, I had a dream that Mxiety would be like the ultimate resource destination.
Mhm.
I would rate resources that are available online. I would rate rehabs. I like that. I like the whole site. And so it would be like the one-stop shop that you could go to get any and all information, just the Bible on mental health resources.
I literally just got an image of like a skyscraper with just anxiety on the front, like people going
No, don't do that.
to
I would
work in
probably name it something
anxiety.
else. That's
Like
so self-serving. Oh my
no, but
gosh.
like people like yeah, I work for like anxiety, like they're going through articles, to research, and obviously like
Oh,
they'd all like live a super happy life because you'd have really good like work life balance and like
well, of course.
those type of it'd be
Yeah.
really inclusive and wonderful. I can see that. I'd work for that. Like,
Yeah. Well, I probably would hire you. Like, I mean, probably like if I had money, I would hire you. Not like if I could hire you, I would hire you. That's not a probably
at this
question.
point, we're just exchanging the same podcast fee. Like,
We
just
are
the same
right. The
$100,000
$100,000,
and just going back
right?
and
Right.
forth.
It's all pocket change, though, right? To us mental health advocates, so it's fine. We're recording this podcast both on our private jets. No,
yes.
if you're just listening, we are not on our private jets. We are not on any. Nobody has private jets. Anyway, I think I'm tired, Chris. I think it's time for me to go to sleep. Go ahead. Ask that last question.
Okay. This one is there anyone or a group of people that you'd like to give a shout out to? Just because, you know, part of this discussion is why we do what we do. And there's usually a good army of
this
people
is a big list.
who do that. You know, I'm going to try and be restrictive. You could just name like an org or a group, you know, but it's anyone you just like to highlight who maybe you think deserve like a to be on blast, you know? Like we've already sort of stand Rachel Coa in this chat. Like,
okay. But like that is it's such a tumble because I'm one of the okay, this is so cheesy, but I'm one of those people. Okay, again, starting that I'm one of those people that I like liking things. So the list of things that I like that I would like to like shout out is very long. I will focus on obviously takethis.org. But then you can't say take this without mentioning safe in our world, right? And then obviously I have to mention to write love on our arms. So take this is US side offering resources for both like the regular people who consume gaming content, but also for companies looking for information and like how to do well by both their employees and create games that represent mental health, right? And then we have Safe in Our World, that is very similar, but in the UK. Rosie, I love you. And then,
big fan. Also on the podcast.
yeah, huge fan. Of course she was. Of course she was. This was such a roster, frankly, Chris. How could you wait this long to have me? No, I'm kidding, because we barely got this to happen. And then To Write Love on Our Arms for the resources. They provide access for people to get scholarships to have access to therapists, which is huge. I know there's so many, and please don't be mad at me if I've worked with you before and I didn't mention you. I
I'm
promise
being
I still love you and
restrictive.
appreciate
That's my
you.
fault. Don't worry, it's not M's fault. It's me. Okay.
But those are the big three that like honestly make my world go round and that make that I think do so much good that it's very important that they everybody's aware of them.
Okay. All right. You are going to a biodome of your choice for a vacation, right? To take with you, you're taking one album, one book, one film/TV show.
These are always the worst because I don't want to just do one. I would never just do one.
So you're going for it as long as you'd like, so you can make, you know, if short.
Go to the forest first of all. It's definitely going to be a forest, the middle of the woods, cabin, beautiful. Okay, next.
Every device works magically if you need anything. You can take Dreamknot Valley; it'll work. Don't worry.
Okay.
But the main thing is that if it comes in a collection, you can have it. You know, if it's a box set, whatever.
It's cheating, especially because how many times was Kingdom Hearts re-released? Like every iteration of all the games.
Just cheat and be like Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, no, the Kingdom Hearts, I think it's called like the Ultimate Collection. It doesn't have 4 in it, but it does have every other game. So I'd be fine. Like I'd be, no, it doesn't even have 3 in it because you threw me off. Which one's the last one? It has all of them up until 3, and I'd be fine not playing 3. I'd be sad. I did like 3, but yeah. So Kingdom Hearts. Sorry,
no.
Do you want to finish your question? I don't think I let you.
No, that's the question. Like if it comes as a package, you can have it. But one album.
All right, so one of each, right?
One disc of DVD, right?
Sure.
Book, game. What are you taking?
Okay, all right. Book. All right. So for those of you who are listening, I am looking at my bookshelf, which is to my right. So it is kind of cheating.
But keenly
movie,
just
obviously. Right. So movie obviously is Tangled.
Nice.
Like no question. I could watch that until the cows come home. Game is the Kingdom Hearts Ultimate Edition that has every single Kingdom Hearts game up until 3 came out, which I know is cheating, but too bad.
That's good. Solid collection.
Okay, solid collection. In terms of what I would reread over and over again, oh, that's so hard. I recently fell in love with the series too, and it's not
the complete Witcher collection.
mean, obviously, but like that wasn't the series. I'm thinking of. Oh, all right.
Oh wait, is it
Here's what
smut?
people. I don't know how people are gonna think about this, but um, every few years in my life, I reread Bridget Jones' Diary. Yes, I know it's based on Pride and Prejudice. Thank you, no, thank you. But
Oh,
every few years of my life, I reread Bridget Jones' Diary, and it hits me in a new way, and I take something else from it, and it's light, but somehow also makes me think, and yeah. So in terms of the books, I would grab the collection of Bridget Jones' Diary because that I would reread it and get new nuggets from it. Album.
what disc you spinning?
See, like I know. Like, do I pick Jack Johnson? In Between Dreams. Beautiful, right? Or do I go for The Color, the Shape, the Sound, Foo Fighters?
Ooh,
Also
solid.
beautiful. Um, mm, it's hard. Music is honestly the hardest one because I could probably listen to something forever and ever and ever. I would probably, if I had to listen to one song for the rest of the time, it'd probably be Rainbow Connection by the Muppets.
Hmm.
Um,
The
but
reason
that's not an
I
album.
like this question is because like I really discover how people think about albums, right? And I feel like
Uh-huh.
this is something that's maybe kind of lost on like the kids with their Spotify, because like
Uh-huh.
for me a good album starts in one place and takes you in another. It goes on a narrative kind of arc,
Oh, well
right?
then Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. That's it. If you want to talk about a journey and like if I went to the woods, I would listen the like I would not stop listening to that. Are you kidding?
Okay.
That's another that's as Bridget Jones' Diary. By the way, interesting both UK British things. But yeah, that's an
Hey, I'm
album
from
that you
Liverpool.
start
I'm
in one
happy for you
place.
to pick the Beatles. Like,
You start in one place, right? And then you end up in a completely different place. So yeah, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is the album I'll be spinning from now until the end of time.
excellent. All right. We've done this whole interview thing. I've asked you questions.
Right.
You've been wonderfully
Sure,
candid.
sure.
I like to turn the tables upon myself and give you the chance to ask me a question. I'll
Yeah.
preface this with I've had the what are you doing on your PhD? And I think that's changed every time I've been asked it. And I've had the Desert Island Disc question myself.
Okay, I'm not doing that. That's too easy. I'm gonna make you sweat.
Uh oh.
I'm gonna ask you, why so I personally I look at you and I see just like a very kind-hearted, thoughtful. Okay, it doesn't feel so good, does it, huh? I see your cheeks are turning pink. But I see a very kind and thoughtful and caring and like you give so much and you care so much for others' well-being and others' needs. So I guess my question is, um, how do you keep doing that? How do you I've seen you be cynical as well, but more or less, I've always seen you come out positively towards other people. So how do you keep that up?
I think, I've spent a lot of time in my life in kind of rough patches, difficult times, and kind of. I'm going to tie this back to Fall Out Boy actually, but one of the things I do believe in is that is a fundamental ability to change. And you'll if you know of anything by Take This, you'll know this is kind of part of their mission sheet, which is why I love it so much. But people have the capacity to change. Not everyone uses that capacity. Not all change
Right.
is good. But I
Mhm.
think if we do not facilitate the space where I, as a person, can use the knowledge and experience and expertise that I have to inform, inspire, advocate, and lift others up, I think you just get into this situation, partly because of capitalism, whereby everyone is just so violently trying to climb over each other that everyone just kind of gets nowhere. If like one
Mhm.
person gets up to the next rung of the wall or platform, whatever, lift someone else up, and then they can lift someone else up, and so on, and then we all actually get somewhere to create change. Now, and I relate this to Fall Out Boy because one of the tattoos I have is the lyric "Long live the car crash hearts," which to me symbolizes the value in the people that have been through tough times and tough experiences, who instead of letting that, you know, destroy them at their core, go very much going the Sephiroth, if you will. Um, you say, okay, well, how can I make this experience maybe help someone else? Which obviously you'll realize at this moment is a very mirroring statement to what you do. But like, truly like, okay, if I've been through this and it can help or inform anyone in any way, that's valuable. That's one of the reasons I talk about grief a lot. It's one of the reasons that I wanted to look at video games and mental health. Particularly for students, as how can we potentially look at video games from a positive perspective and make a change? We are years behind that. It's going to take a long time to enact change. Behavior change is hard, particularly when you're talking about something that is, I'm using lots of academic words, but like so sociologically challenging. Mental health stigma is huge. It's global. It's a huge beast. It's Phantom Ganon. I'm just dropping nerd points everywhere. So it's hard. It's going to take a long time to do that. But if we all, all evil needs to succeed is for a good person to stand by and do nothing. And I'm not saying I'm a good person. I'm not saying I'm a hero. I did for a long time go through this Messiah complex kind of phase.
Sure.
To my own detriment. I realized that was not healthy. But by working together and then coming across people like you, like people that work and take this, make me go, other people are on this team. And if we all together keep plugging away at it, we will get somewhere. And that's why I keep going. It's not easy. There are days when I just go, nah. There are days when I'll sit and I'll just play a video game all day that is irrelevant to work. Because you need those. Of course, I'm going to fail. I'm going to have, crappy days, right? But fundamentally, what gets me out of bed, what gets me on stream, what gets me writing thesis, what gets me reading, is because I believe it's worthwhile. And I think if I'm going to do anything, I want that to be meaningful and something I believe in.
That's gorgeous. I love that.
Look, that almost went Shakespearean. I got very impassioned there. Kind of just happened.
You did. Well, I mean, it's a hop and a skip. All you Brits to Shakespeare, so that makes sense.
But yeah, that's why I keep doing it. But again, it's not a stretch for listeners to be like, oh yeah, these guys, same page, see it. Like,
yeah, no, but that's exactly. I think, so it's what makes evil prevail is a good person standing by, but it's also people feeling like they're like being a good person isn't worth it, and you need a group of good people to be like, oh no, they're still fighting, and for the same reason to be like, I gotta step back. They can keep fighting, but I gotta take a moment because I can't. I'm exhausted. That's you need a lot of people.
Like all good RPG parties, and this is kind of a pull quote I have on a thing that I'm not going to mention explicitly, but like it's the people that make the journey worthwhile. Every party needs a cast of characters. Final Fantasy, you need someone who's better at support and healing and buffs. You need people that are going to go in and be big, strong, and smack things and bonk monsters. You need Donald and Goofy in Kingdom Hearts. They do a sterling job.
You don't need Donald. You do not need Donald.
Okay,
and listen, as we learn in Kingdom Hearts 2, apparently you don't need Goofy, but you do. So here we are.
Listen,
that's not a spoiler.
I like Donald. Okay, I'm gonna stand by that because I appreciate that grumpy old man kind of perspective.
Oh, I love Donald so much. He's there's a Donald in all of us, but dear Lord, heal Donald, heal.
Yeah, good time.
Did we collect all the nerd points? I think that's all of them.
I beat the first Kingdom Hearts. I actually played it only a couple of years ago, and like that final string of boss fights, like no spoilers, but sweet lord, I only
everybody's a boat. That's the spoiler. Everybody's a boat.
I have no shame in admitting I did that by just hanging back and just letting Goofy and Donald regenerate slowly and just slowly pluck away at the boss's health.
There's no shame in that. Sometimes that's what you got to do.
Because I was like, this is ridiculous.
I mean, it's a Square Enix game. That's what you get.
Yeah.
It's what you get.
Anyway, all that aside, me giving the big old speeches and whatnot. Thanks for that, by the way. I was very much, for listeners' benefit, I was very much blushing and felt very emotive at the start of that little question. Where is the best place for people to find you online? All links will be attached to if you found this episode.
Right. Start at Mxiety.com. Then branch out. Depending on what's going on by the time this episode airs, I may still be on Twitter. Who knows what's happening on Twitter?
We hope.
Right? Who knows? I don't know if it's going by the way of MySpace. I don't know. But yeah, I'm on Insta. I'm on Twitch sometimes. I'm definitely on Insta. I'm definitely on my website writing. And I'm definitely on Twitter at this moment, but who knows? But yeah, so if you start on my website, you could probably get some breadcrumbs to find whatever the heck I'm doing now. Yeah. That's I think that's the easiest way to go about that.
All right. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
You feel like the world is dark, nobody can give you the love and the care that you need and deserve. Go out there and be that light to others. Sorry,
You said the
I
thing.
had to.
You said the thing.
I said the thing.
All
I said
right.
the thing.
For those watching, we're gonna flick over to the stream ending screen. Thank you all for being a part of this episode. Thank you, Em, for being part of it.
Thank you.
As we say on this channel, look after your mind, body, and soul. Until next time,
Oh.
take it easy, friends. Bye bye.